Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. You know, I love Goldie Hawn.
We all love Goldie Hawn.
And I always wanted to do a movie with Goldie.
Really?
And I don't know if we ever will, but, you know, maybe before we go, I can have a little dance with her before. Wouldn't that be nice?
It would
Do you mean
be.
here?
We've always
here.
loved each
Here
other.
on stage?
Yeah.
You like to do a little dance? What sort of dance do you do?
Goldie's a great dancer.
Yes, she is a great dancer.
Yeah.
Can you do all that?
Or we could do a foxtrot. That would be
do
equally as...
Mr. Oliver will do a foxtrot.
fun,
Well, think of a foxtrot.
Well, how is everybody tonight?
Here's a foxtrot.
It's like the melody.
You know, you could spend your whole career wanting to be with someone and work with them, and you don't. This is a way to fulfill your fantasies.
But I mean, you're a gypsy, really, aren't you? You're a dancer. That's what you love
But
doing.
we both are.
Yeah, that's right. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying to you. I mean, you dance in your new movie, which
Yes.
we'll talk about in just a moment. Repeat the Uma Thurman dance, or a different kind of dance, but the one that you did in Pulp Fiction. But first of all, let's talk about Chili Palmer.
Sure.
Yeah, because I love Elmore Leonard novels.
Oh, he's the best.
He's the best, isn't he? And Chili Palmer's a very, very fascinating creation. Obviously, it fascinates you. I mean, it's the second time you played him.
Yes. Well, there's a kind of pedigree when you have the original writer involved, and thus a sequel becomes a little more appealing.
Yes.
It'd be the same thing with Pulp Fiction. If Quentin were to be involved, you'd be a little more apt to want to do it.
Yes.
So with Elmore Leonard involved, it was very, well, it was a seduction.
Oh, and what is it about the character itself, though, that you enjoy playing so much? Because you obviously do enjoy playing it.
I do. He always reminded me of James Bond. And in the U.S., we have no answer to the James Bond character, so I thought I would make one. And it was in Chili Palmer, and it was really in his writing more than it was anything. But he was, you know, fearless and unflappable. Cool, and I think that's kind of the original definition of cool.
Yes.
And I really elegant and dapper, and it's fun to portray that. You don't get a chance to do it very often.
And very controlled, too. I mean,
Very.
Emotionally controlled. You do have this thing, the look.
Yes.
Look at me. that was in the first... Where did that come from, the look?
That was all Elmore Leonard.
Was it?
Yes.
And what is it? I mean, is it just established by looking at somebody?
Well, it's to grab someone's attention so they really hear what you're saying. If I had said, Michael, look at me. I'm the one telling you like it is. You see what I mean? You have to... They're usually startled by even being asked, you know, to look at them. So anyway, that's one of the hooks.
All right.
Character.
Well, let's now look at the look in action, actually. Now, let's set it up, first of all. You were moved into the music industry.
Yes,
From the movie
in the
industry.
first one, he's in the movies, which is very white collar, and the gangsters are not quite clarified. He finds them one way or another. In music industry, they're much more obvious, which is kind of true.
Yeah, more gangster than the movie.
Yes, so he's a little more comfortable even
Yes.
seeking out his adversaries.
And he meets a girl who's under contract to somebody. She wants to break the contract. It's a crook contract, okay? And this is a sequence where you begin to actually move her away from the boss. Okay, let's have a look at it here.
Man, the suit. You in town for some kind of convention?
No, but if I was, you'd be the man to see, am I right?
Why would you say something stupid like that?
Oh, the way you're dressed. You're either a pimp or a limo driver.
You got jokes? You some kind of weak comedian?
Raji, look at me.
Oh, I'm looking at you, man.
Oh, you say you're looking at me, but are you really looking at me?
Yeah, that's... Did you, like Goldie, never dream of being what you became? Did you, or did you from the very beginning?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to actually predict movie stardom. You know, it's easier to predict theatrical stardom because in New York, that's what was closest to New Jersey, which is where I grew up, and my mother was a an actress and a drama teacher and a director, and so theater was very real to me. Movies a little less real, but nevertheless sought after. So I think it's always hard to imagine that you're really going to make it, you know?
Yeah, it seems so unrealistic, you
Absolutely.
know. I mean,
but I mean, it happened to you very quickly. I mean, you were 25 and you had the world at your feet, didn't you? I mean, you had...
Actually, I was a little younger. I think we both hit big at the same age.
Yeah.
So it was with you, it was Saturday Night Fever, and it was the front cover of Time, and it was all that stuff, and they were this huge, colossal... I mean, it went... that was a very strange kind of fame that you got, wasn't it, from Saturday Night Fever? It became... It was bigger than normal fame.
Well, because it affected society as well, you know. It was a phenomenon of sorts, which I'm actually very happy about, because it made my place in film very strong, and therefore I could have as many ups and downs as I needed and still hold my place.
Yes.
Right.
You know,
and
so
we do have our ups and downs.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Inevitably. I mean, it's so much is made of your career being full of ups and downs. Yes. But I mean, as you said, that's an inevitable consequence. Nobody goes like that.
And if you're trying to really do it as an actor, versus just a presence, you will always have ups and downs, because being an actor and being true to that, you're doing different types of roles and characters, and you're not leaning on only your presence. And that's something that you then have to accept the ups and downs with.
But one of the things that of course, might have happened to you, and I wonder if it did, when you were at that young age, was that it can turn your head. It can make you cocky. It can make you think that you're the king of the castle.
Well, it could, but on the other hand, life is so humbling, it's difficult to really... I mean, I think you have to be a little off for it to go to your head, because right next to, you know, all the compliments are insults, and right next to all the ups or downs, and so I think you have to be a little off-center to really allow it to go to your head.
Is there a moment you can remember where you were brought back to earth?
All the time. I mean, you name it. I remember one day feeling kind of down about myself, and I had a beautiful 1964 British Jaguar, and I decided that I was going to be quite full of myself, and decided that I was going to celebrate and go driving, and I put that recording from the Lelouch film Man and a Woman, and I was thinking things like, I'm a great big movie star, and bam, I conked out in the middle of Sunset Boulevard, and I had to push the car, and the music was still playing. It was so awful. And I remember people giving me the finger and yelling, move it. And I thought, just as I start to get full of myself, look what happens. And I pushed it to there's a big Saudi mansion, and I had to knock on their door and get them up, and it was just awful.
So that brought you down to earth.
Well, and many things like that, I'm sure. I just don't even bother going there anymore.
But I mean, what do these ups and downs teach you? I mean, do they just teach you that, well, what is the lesson that you learn from all that, from the success and the lows that you have? I mean,
well, my father
of them?
even told me years ago, just try to take everything on an even keel. Don't take the highs too seriously, and don't take the lows too seriously.
My dad said that to me, too.
It must be that era of...
It really did.
Yeah.
You didn't have the same father?
Maybe.
No. Where'd you borrow me?
Yours was Italian, wasn't he? Yeah.
Italian-Irish.
That's Italian-Irish is your mixture. And even though you made your mother seem as she is a very fascinating woman, you had 6 children in your family.
Yes.
And so times would have been tough, I imagine, when you were growing up.
Well, they could be. Of course, they were a very creative family, so we never really thought things were tough, even though we were probably lower middle income, but we never really wanted for anything. And Mom and Dad took great care of us.
And your inspiration in those days, you have this theatrical mum and that sort of thing, I mean, it's genetic in a sense that you become, you said about yourself, you're a natural performer. So.
Yes.
But the movies played a big part, didn't they, in your
Yeah, I loved
ambition?
Cagney. I loved all the old movie stars.
Cagney.
I even, got to know all of them. I'm sure you did too. But I knew Cagney and Stanwyck and Cary Grant and Gregory Peck and Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, and I got advice from all of them, and it was
awesome.
a wonderful time. I was smart enough to know that they weren't going to be around that long, and I was smart enough to actually rub elbows with them.
I mean, Cagney is possibly my favourite film actor of all time.
Oh, he's
and
amazing.
I think that he was, I mean, he defined screen acting in many, many ways.
Yes.
But what about him as a dancer?
Fabulous.
Oh, Astaire said he was the best.
Well, he certainly had the most style and most original.
He was a street dancer, wasn't he?
Yes,
yeah.
yes. But in vaudeville as well.
Yeah, yeah.
How about that so many of those guys were hoofers?
Yes.
I mean, that's what gets me.
Yeah,
you know,
so
I mean, they really were and had their, and that's another part in terms of keeping your feet on the ground and having ups and downs. When you're really a trained dancer and you work, you sweat for your life and you're competing against yourself and only yourself, it's a, you know, it's a lot like a swimmer or a skater or something. It builds a work ethic in you where you really aren't looking at the highs or the lows. You're just continually wanting the ability to have the option to make yourself better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, isn't it? I mean,
it's a great way of keeping fit, isn't it, basically, as well? I mean, it really is. I mean, dancing, you can always tell dancers by looking at them and the way they walk.
Can you dance?
yeah.
I tried it with Will Smith. Will Smith and I did a foxtrot. And what started to bother me, I didn't realise until later, was I'd taken the woman's part. And that really bothered me, John, I have to tell you. It really did. The fact is, I would love to be able to dance. Of all those things that people I admire dancers more than anybody, I think. And my great thing was meeting Fred Astaire and Kelly. But you do dance in this film. You've got Uma Thurman's in the new film with you, in Be Cool. And did you take much persuading to do a reprise, in a sense, I suppose, of the
Well,
partnership?
I'll tell you what, it didn't take... I wanted to dance in the first one with Rene Russo, and I wasn't permitted to. And so I said, okay, you know, I understand, but I thought if I ever get to do it again, which happened, I would put a dance in there. But I thought, how would Chili dance? Because you have to dance in character. You can't just arbitrarily do a dance. So I thought he would do something very cool, very samba, Brazilian, kind of a foxtrot, cha-cha kind of thing.
That's right.
So
and you could do the dance, but not repeat it as such. It was a different
yeah,
thing
different
altogether.
style, dance completely. Well,